on the upturn after some holiday illnesses got me right down. Coughing and just feeling so rough and achy. Talk about cold and flu season. Hey ho. Plus, some of you guys know I traveled over the holidays. I went to Prague, Christmas market, and like I live deep in the countryside, so I live a very quiet and like nature filled life. So being in busy crowds and being in cities really like took the life force from me straight up. But I was having a really great chats with my sister yesterday, and we were talking about how like life's like this evolution of just getting to know self so that you can manage yourself. That's it. It's like, I like that. I don't like that. I like that. I don't like that. Trust it. Follow it. Do it. I kind of compromise that. My sister and I are also we talk a lot about like healing from narcissistic abuse and endeavoring to unravel all this complex post-traumatic stress stuff as adults. And it's weird, right? Because sometimes you don't become even aware of it until you're later in life, and you're like, so that's trauma. Interesting. So yeah, unraveling all of the CPD, hala, whatever it is, and talking about that as far as like honoring the self when you're like from a really healthy system, that's just normal. It's like, oh, I don't want to be here, I'm going to leave, bye, no big deal. But when you're traumatized, there's like a lot of inner battle that can come up. There's a lot of like you wanting to do something, but there's like fear, and there's like, oh no, I'm gonna upset people, or like, oh, there's all this like fucking weird resistance and compromise with just a very basic thing of like, I want to go, or I'm tired, or so yeah, really and that is the power of self-reflection. When you look back at a situation and go, how could I have done that better? How could I have done that better? But what fascinates me still is just the system of denial. The widespread clusterfuck of a system where we're just conditioned to shop and watch TV and not really question anything. But when you start questioning things and you're, aware, it's quite troubling. Like, as far as like, we sit around and watch TV and distract ourselves, and fundamentally wanting to make change is like a real thing. Like, we want to make change, but we don't kind of cultivate that silence necessarily. Or I suppose change happens too when there's always usually a certain amount of timing. This New Year's, by the way, is a really great year for the resolution. New Year's, new you, all that. It's, and astrologically speaking, like in previous years, there's been years where it's like, don't do it to yourself. Like, as in, this is not the droids. This is not the droid. These are not the droids you're looking for. As in, you can commit, but astrologically, sometimes it don't line up. Like, the new year is not going to offer you a new you. There's going to be a whole bunch of other stuff that you're going to have to deal with, and you're like, meh. So setting up new patterns or trying to change habits, maybe not the best. This year is a good one. Plus, oh, hi. It's a new moon in Capricorn. New moon in Capricorn. Right on my good old ascendant. 9 degrees and something or other. I'm like, oh, gee whiz, that's on my ascendant. And what are you going to do about it? It's like, well, you're going to intend, woman. You're going to make a list. I made a list yesterday, and I checked it twice. I made a list and I checked it, and to make sure that I wasn't duping myself. And I mean, in fairness, I've been doing all this manifestation stuff for so many years that it kind of eludes me at this point. Like, I don't even try to control or manifest anything other than just like living life and trying not to like hate on myself too much, like, it's just that. It's like, what's going on up here? What's going on up here? Okay, we're all right. Things like movement, things like being outside, sometimes socializing, sometimes is useful. You know, it can help lift us. It can help ground us. I'm looking after some dogs today. I'm super excited about that. Pardon me. And I'm still very much overcoming this cold that just floored me. I was in bed for a whole day, and even around that, I mean, like, like trying to get through the day. It was wild, actually. Okie dokie. So we're gonna do a quick little card pull. Hi, I'm MJ. I'm the hostess of this channel. We do tarot. I've been broadcasting on the internet for a long time. I put some creative stuff out there. I share a little bit of like insights of what's coming through. I do have a book. I published a book called The Fearless Life Guide, which is really just like, going through the flame of your own emotional life. But it still astounds me actually how much people don't want to own their emotions, and they just want to stay in patterns of blame and attack. And yet I kind of get it, because endeavoring real shadow work and emotional work is like painful and uncomfortable and socially shamed, like, what are you doing? And you're like, well, I'm trying to feel my shadow so that it's not like constantly hitting up against me in my personal reality, and like so that I can have better relationships, etc., etc. And people are like, how dare you? I'm joking, by the way. I don't even know what I'm saying most of the time, but we're here for it. Yeah, I straight up legit, my lovers, I'm gonna just sidestep some of the comments for now. I used to go live all the time, and I'm a bit in a hard nosed phase where people are getting blocked, as far as in the recent sort of weeks and months. I received some pretty vile attack from internet, and then a super vile attack from like person fairly close in my like reality. And it just is one of those things at this stage, after all these years, I just don't want to tolerate it. Like, people have their opinions, people want to say what they want to say, but not on my watch, like not on my channel. And if it was a friend of mine, if it was somebody else, I would give them the same advice: block that bot. And straight up, like, when you're doing something from your heart and with a sense of passion and commitment and integrity, and people just want to tear you down and rip you apart, no time for it. No time for it. Because those of us on this side are genuinely here every single day to build people up, to love people, to shine light, to go, you're not alone. You're not alone in the funkaliciousness of emotional depth, because generationally speaking, we've got a lot to unpack. Look at the wars that we're still raging. Look at the trash we're still creating. We have a fair ways to go to unify our perspective and live in greater harmony on this planet. What's that? Is that utopian idealism? No, it's just being smart. From just an intelligent perspective, the intelligence of the microorganism of our species is having to evolve to survive. Otherwise, we're just gonna war ourselves out of existence, which, in retrospect, as a soul, you'd look back and be like, really? Really? Is that what you're gonna choose? And you'd be like, I'm sorry, God, no. Let's choose life. Let's choose, like, honoring the people and the people that can create people. There's some madness going on in the world. Like, I tune into these apps, but sometimes, increasingly, I just think of gardening. I think of the sound of silence. I think of silence, and I come back here because I feeling feeling the little purge, burn, feeling that energy of like just wanting to go live. I'm like, oh my God, y'all, I love live. I love you guys. I love this YouTube channel. I'm so grateful for it. TikTok is cool, but it it freaks me out. TikTok is like another level of mindscape. And what I'm aware of is the discipline and focusing my mind, Jedi, on living the life so that there's more fullness, or just straight up distraction from the phones. I'm like, I want to create a garden so that I can start growing stuff and learn about vegetables and plants. I love plants. I want to learn more about plants and surf, and it's a good life. It's a simple life. That's another thing too. People are like, "Oh God, the power." I'm like, "Yeah, power through the heart." I don't consider being powerful in this world necessarily powerful. It's an illusion. Delusion that we project and create onto people so that people are like, I'm fearful and powerless. And it's like, no, stop that. You have power just in the fact that you breathe. You deserve to be here just by the fact that you're in existence. It's like such an existential thing. It's like, oh, how shameful that you're poor. That's just created that way. Let's embrace our poverty and just live in simplicity. Live within our means, and we can all be wealthy. Because wealth really is love and well being. When I look at it, I'm like, I see joyful people with people that they love, in families that they love looking after, living within their means, usually kind of nature vibratory as well, because that's my point of attraction. Like, I feel the peace from that. It's like little hobbitses, just like have a fun fair every month, or, get everybody together in a barn and have a bit of a shindig. That's what we're doing now, you guys. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yeah, so I'm in a pretty determined way of like, I'm not tolerating any gack anymore on the internet. I think I spent a long time like trying to be ever so kind all the time to everybody, and to try to like literally be inclusive to everybody. And then I've just had actually some massive awakenings recently that have completely destabilized my perspective of like old. And so I'm in this sort of funkalicious, open-hearted, open-minded blank space of like, I don't know anymore. I don't know anything. And I feel like I was a little bit like and maybe ungrounded and delusional. Like, aren't we all the time? I don't know. Like, life. I enjoy just noodling, like having like thought form and being like, what is it? Is this it? Is this it? And chatting with you guys. And look, there's you guys. I can see you guys. I can see the names. These are the true blue lovers. Actually, there's some true blue lovers over at the Patreons as well. The Patreons, they get it's been probably a couple weeks since I've delivered to the Patreons. Patreons are getting access to the monthly readings, which are now totally unlisted and private. So unless you're a subscriber or unless you're a patron, you're not going to get the monthlies. It's disrupting the algorithm for some reason. I'm just here live, super intuitive, because that's how I've always rolled. I just be intuish and be like, is that okay? And you're like, well, that's what's happening, so it's all good. That's where it's consistency every day. Just show up every day and we're good to go. So the daily readings are part of the plan. And otherwise, just the odd intuitive sharing. And then again, back to the old Patreons, because Patreon is like a hub of safety where I can probably hash things out. Quite a few Patreons will like message me and be like, hey, can we maybe look at this topic? Can we cover it? Although saying that, I've been in a whirlwind and have not delivered to the patrons in probably a couple weeks. I apologize to myself because we are one. And if what up, my lovers? Honestly, sometimes all you can do is take the piss because I don't know. This is the thing. I wrote a book about thinking I knew stuff. Like I knew, like, thing is, I have a sense of it. Emotional alchemy is real. I wrote that book and published it like before I even really understood about shadow work. I'm like, what? Carl Jung wrote about it? What? My book is not a completely original concept? Like, no, it's called The Shadow. I'm like, oh. I just didn't know that I grew up in such a way that was so repressive. Like, there's a lot I didn't know until recently about my own delusions. And there was a time when I was like, spiritual. I'm still spiritual. It's all spiritual. But like, I really believed I was on a certain trajectory. Now I'm not. Now I'm like, don't know. But I like not knowing. I'm happy to not know. It's kind of liberating It's kind of liberating just to be like this innocent little blob of stardust showing up on the internet being like, what the actual hala hala chameleon, what's going on? Nobody knows, you know? And then I just reminded myself, I'm like, I do actually have a session in like an hour. I had a session an hour ago, but it got canceled. Sometimes my clients, it's not happening for them. You know, with my yoga work, it's real. It's real as a fitness professional or as like a well-being professional. If people pay you really just to show up for them and force them to work. We're here. You're paying me. It's 5 o'clock. Get ready. Let's breathe. Let's move. Boom. Do little half an hour sound bites, you know, a couple times a week, and they're getting their exercise in, plus the yoga vibratory and mindfulness and meditation, and become a bit more sensitized so you can make better choices, etc., etc. Is it clean and simple and straight to the point? No, because that's not life, right? It's like a cluster of just energetics just constantly moving about. Let's pull some cards for you guys. Thanks for showing up for my live. I feel like there's a song, Childlike Wonder, Childlike Wonder. That's my vibratory today. I mean, it's just I'm just getting flooded with flashback of like, I used to share every single day. I used to just go live. It's like, if there's nothing else I can do, I'm just going to go live every day and be like, what? That was during a phase where if I had known what was coming, I might have played things differently. Hindsight, right? It's like any of us could do that. It's the beauty of self-reflection, but I sometimes wonder, like, what does self-reflection do if every moment there's going to be a new curveball? Yeah, like, I couldn't have predicted that, but it's not like I can predict the future. I had a referral booking recently. So, disclaimer, I'm not a psychic and I don't predict the future. Don't ask me. And as in, there was a referral client who came to me. It was like, why can't you tell me the future? And I'm like, it's because I don't want to. And fuck, and no. And they're like, what's the point of the tarot? If you can't tell me what I want to hear. And I'm like, she's like, don't tell me this, but tell me this. And you're like, disclaimer, I'm not a psychic. I'm not here to do any kind of predictive work. I'm just reading messages from cards. The idea, in my perception, is it's in the present moment. So there's a timestamp in the here now where it's like, yeah, I need a bit of like love or guidance or just clarity of what the actual mother blah blah is happening in my life. The tarot will be like, oh yeah, this is happening. You're not Delulu. There's some Shazam going down, but don't worry because bosh, this energetic's offering you this. Bosh, these are karmic lessons. Bosh, you know, like these are things that another human can be like, I know. You've been in the shits and the tarot is not going to solve anything, but it can momentarily make you feel a little bit better, make you feel a little bit trusting of life. I know for my clients who are also like spirit workers or soul workers, they understand that. They're like, what are the cards saying, just to affirm that I'm not going way off course or that I'm not completely out of this, that, or the other, right? And sometimes the cards can really offer some clarity on that, especially like specific. I'm thinking about like when it comes down to people and like when people have asked me to like, can you pull on the situation? And then I pull and there's like, murky energy around some boss or murky and that it's just affirmative. It's like, yep, bosh, I knew that. Or it's not that, and anyway. Hi, welcome. Makes me think I should be doing more lives again. I used to do lives all the time. Can't please anyone but yourself. This was true. I was having a chat with somebody about that over the holidays because it was just getting like holiday, right? And I've been at breakdown. I was like, you can't please them. You're never going to. So stop trying. It's just unsurmounted kind of pressure, which I think a lot of traumatized people or just people in general feel. It's like pressure, just like intensity, and then after a while you're like kind of burning out. But holding that and sensitizing you to that and being hyper vigilant with other people's emotions and or just naturally picking it up is exhausting. And like my sister and I were talking about that too. It's like if you're not hyper vigilant, as in when you're like emotionally inclined, like so like you're hypersensitive, you're feeling in the airwaves. It's kind of funny to wake up to the fact that like a lot of people aren't seeing that. Like they aren't seeing behind the veil. They're not picking up on those energies. They're just there like da. And I'm like, whoa, what would that be like? What would that be like to just sit there and not be picking up on like all the energies all the time and not be hyper vigilant and like not be able to pre-guess like what somebody's gonna do and then also like step in and try to like manage everybody because it's exhausting. And then when you realize for a lot of people, that's just not what their process is. They're just like, do, 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 and like they're not seeing layers, sheaths. It's the 10 of Pentacle. No, that's a 10 of Sword. Did I say that earlier? Completion? I feel like there's a rhyme coming in, like completion, my vibration, baby. Ooh. Okay, I'm looking at cards. Let's just do. Let's look. Let's look at what's here. I mean, there's no doubt this would be fini, complet. It's over. Something's over. Something is done and over for sure. I think this could be a creative project. The King of Pentacles is like a rising up. And you've probably, so 10 of Sword and 5 of Cups reversed, like you've been in some grief, despair, pain, loss, like what do you want from me, God? It's just, oh look, there's counterparts. So some of you, if just been resonating, you're manifesting a partner. You're manifesting your divine soulmate. I'm not a twin flame person. Nope. All reflections are twins or reflecting something in us, but I think we have many soulmates and potential lovers, and I think if we obsessively over energize one other human, I think it distorts our reality highly potentially. Plus it puts all of our love and all of our grace and all those wonderful feelings that we feel in love partnerships, it gives them away. I'm that all that love I feel, that's mine, baby. I see you, baby. Checking at that. Like we all have that capacity for love. Don't give it away to somebody. Share it. But don't think that the love that you feel is solely because of some person that you call a soulmate or a twin flame. No, it's your love. It would seem like in these relationships, like we activate it in each other upon encounter in a meeting, and then we have these dances and this like lava. That is just a kind of synergistic activation of the love that we all have potential to live and express. And we don't need to put it on somebody because high conditions. And then if they find an equal amount of love for somebody else and you're like out of love and they took the love, they didn't take the love. All of that love is always inside of you, right? Especially this day and age, because just, I think, sadly, there's so much commodification of our experience that makes me a bit sad. Not deeply sad, because I've got my own conundrums to work through. Including, I think, the next 20 years, just looking at our addiction and looking at our mind and where our attention is. Like, where are we focusing our attention? And I've forgotten, because it's been so long. But, like, over the holiday period, I'm, like, remembered, like, people just watch TV. and I forgot about that. I was like, I moved my reality into the reality of like conversation and like walks and like outdoor things and outdoor playtime, and I'd kind of forgotten that there's still this whole just system of shopping and watching TV. Shopping and watching TV. It's just like, anywho, that's why I probably come to retreat myself, to try to get my body better so that I think clearly again and just embrace the birds and the bees that are outside my window, and the horses and the dogs. I get to dog sit today, you guys. That felt like what's her face from Legally Blonde. What's that, Jennifer Coolidge. I get to dog sit tonight, you guys. I get to go take a dog for a walk. They're cute dogs as well. They're like the types, little beagles or whatever. And they're super hyper, but same, Michelle. I also am my own twin flame. What? Like, Avi, I wouldn't, I wouldn't do that to somebody. You're my twin flame. What an awful lot of pressure. I'll be my own twin. Hi. It's the best way to be because I'm the only one I'm going to live and die with. So I might as well learn to love the flame that's right here. And, with regards to potential suitors, you just got to be like, dost thou have the merit to even begin to potentially enter? And then also you have to think about like, enter at your own risk, and I'll do the same. I can't control what's up in there or up in here necessarily. Well, I can do more with that, but anywho, let's get back to this reading. Ten of Sword. But the Ten of Sword, so there's definitely a completion, my lovers. There's definitely a completion. The completion is bringing in energy, like bringing in new people, bringing in Queen of Pentacle, King of Pentacle. That's a partnership for sure. Bringing in like minds, partnerships. You talk about twin flame. Let's talk about soulmates and partners and the people in our lives that can enhance our creative potential or creative power. Yeah, I think it's more that rather than this weird romantic obsession. I think actually what a lot of it is pointing to healing is our distortion of creative power. As in, we project this loving commitment onto another human being, but loop it around. Most of us are still crying out for deeper healing so that we can be the expressive creative channel that we're here to be. And yet we distract ourselves like maybe this relationship will fix it. Maybe that substance will tap it. Maybe the blah, blah, blue, blue. And actually it's all there, right there within us. We just forget, I think, and then forget is the Eight of Sword. It's like this. It's like even being open to like astrologers, being open to psychic, even though I was banging on about not believing in that, but not to give too much power away. It's more to do with that, like trusting your autonomy, right? The Hierophant. Movement, claiming keys, healing. There's something a bit depressing about the Star, Five of Sword, Five of Cup, Ten of Sword. Yuck. I feel like there could be a bit of a blindside moment. There could be a bit of a like, because like the Star reverse could often be like not getting what we want. Plus Five of Cups reverse, like Ten of Sword. There's definitely some sticky energy here, and it's like exact, like exacting the acceptance of the loss, maybe. You're not going to see it coming, but then it's going to come right in. There's something higher. It's like, I wish this, I want that, but it's not coming. It hasn't come. It's not coming. And you're like, fuck. So there's some kind of acceptance. Fine. Let go. We're not going to do that. I'm going to let go of that dream. I'm going to just let myself die. And it kind of feels like through that surrender or through that acceptance, there's an evolution or a evolution. Like, I get the key. I get to do that thing. I get that now. Hierophant. I've never noticed that little lamb before. Thinking about something about like purity and grace and like kind of trusting. Something about the voice of God, like trusting your own inner voice. Trusting, yeah, like the lamb is making me think the Lamb of God, something like something about like, healing the sins of the world and like being anchored in your grace, being anchored in your innocence, and how that is like the key. This is like a riddle. It's like a riddle. So this is the key. You have the key. You are the key. Part of your innocence is the key, but the innocence is also part of your power. Like for some of you, it could be that there's people come. What was I saying before? Like, so there could be people coming to you. Maybe you're the reader, the psychic, the spiritual person that people want to go to listen, but simultaneously there's like some old perspectives or like old versions of you that are dying, that are like, I don't want that thing. That dream is dead. I have to let go of that thing because it's just too tiring, or I can't see it clearly, so I might as well just step into a different path or something like this, okay? Some of you might want to just look over like the yamas and yamas, it's codes of conduct, internal and external code of conduct. Some of you might be looking at that. Dang, Three of Swords came up in one of the daily readings recently. Maybe yesterday or today, I'm not sure. Or rather, it would be today and tomorrow. Three of Sword. Sometimes when the swords come up kind of heavy like that as well, I'm as a reader, it's almost like I'm getting the message of, fuck, as in there's no more info that we are meant to see. I did get that though of late within the last couple weeks. There's something coming in the air, like energetically early January, or like there is some sense of like a rising peak and then a shift, sort of like an event horizon, right? There's definitely a greater energetic that's soon, very soon, and that boom reorients like really quick the collective. It's not a fearmonger alarmist thing, and yet be prepared, because like types of information can continue to send shockwaves through the collective. Often it's the shockwave that can do more damage as well than the inception of the event or cataclysm. Natural disaster, alien, or a fucking cluster of all of it put together and warring, because we're headed into that uprising, right? The energies moving into Aries are very much about pushing the needle with regards to, sadly, aspects of war and warring between people and nations. However, we're having to really find our true north from an individual collective perspective. That's why I talk about nature. I talk about us learning about the birds and the fleas, like in a real way, and the cyclical nature of our own being in uh, on the planet, like as a home, and to disenfranchise the sort of disconnected matrix illusion, right? Which is really this whole like that we're all these just robotic slaves that are a piece in the fucking capitalist machine. Us awakening to that three-dimensional illusory construct. Again, it's all an illusion regardless, but and to us to come more fully into our power to become creative conscious creators, right? Conscious creators in harmony with a higher harmonic that's also in a cyclical relationship with the planet. That's part of why we're healing generational trauma, right? Because we have a lot to learn from the indigenous people. We have a lot to learn from the people who actually like live in is still in that connection, that are way far beyond this idea of a capitalist monetary system, right? Because it's not true. The truth is the clean water and the natural food, and money is just a symbol, but sadly that symbol on so many levels disconnects us rather than connects us. So it's reconnecting ourselves to what's true and real, which is one another, which is, the planet, and all the endless indoctrination and shopping and just, denial, etc. That's kind of coming up. Coming up. So they're, it's time to party, basically. I don't, by that point, I don't even know what I'm talking about other than conflict, pain, pain. I've really enjoyed today, you guys. Thanks for showing up. Pardon my coffee cough. Disassociating. Yeah, I mean, I do it too, but I am really aware of how it's just like, yeah. And I think because I'm away from it and then kind of return, I'm just amazed that that's still just watch TV and just kind of like da-da-da, and I'm like, fuck, I don't do that. I don't dig on that. And kind of navigating, which is kind of going back to the conversation with my sis yesterday, is like, it's pure knowing of self and just choosing responsibly from that. Knowing of the self and choosing responsibly based on that, to not compromise ourselves for other people, to not fall back into weird codependencies and all that kind of shit. And I think that's even another layer of like approaching even all this online stuff with a lot of power and kind of commitment to love, as far as why tolerate the hatred from anything or anyone, right? And it's a lot to do with these deeper cycles of self-denial and abuse, which, for anyone unpacking complex post-traumatic stress, for anyone that dealt with like growing up in narcissistic homes, etc., like, it is a wild psychological landscape, and it's not the norm, particularly. Not that there's like some norm, if actually maybe being traumatized is totally the norm. At this stage, it's an evolutionary kind of thing, because as an entire generation or multiple generations having to wake up to our disconnection, but then rewiring that connection through love and empathy and compassion, and then having to like think or feel our way into like a new existence, essentially. It's why there's these sort of mass awakenings, and sort of the polarity is existential crises, because a lot of us are having to realize, like, what is the truth of your existence? Like, why are you actually here? What the actual hala are you doing? I don't know. See, yeah, I feel this. I feel this most, like, probably from loads of the community, right? It's like these layers, and like, for all intents and purposes, 12 years ago or whatever, people might have said, oh yeah, you're healed. And I'm like, I could play the part of that, but and then life continued to throw stuff at me, and like more trauma come out, more psychological despair, as far as my own self-denial, and like my own kind of conundrum of like the truth of taking up space and the truth of existing, when there was actually a lot of big like almost like societal stuff, like not belonging anywhere, and like or genuinely trying to put myself out there, and then people being like, we don't want you here, or like, or you don't, like, just straight up kind of nasty groupthink clique orientation, where it was made very clear that like my presence wasn't welcome. And there would have been a time where I would have been like, "Well, whatever," but like on this occasion I was like, I'm gonna step away. It's like the people that are hunting the witches. I'm not gonna just lay myself on a stake for people to hunt me down and kill me. Not this time. you know it's like um claiming it's like claiming the witchiness in full force, but like protecting the energy, like protecting my home, protecting my energy, and knowing that I deserve it. Like everybody deserves to feel safe and protected, and it's weird that we have to wake up and grapple with a reality of a world that doesn't treat all of its people very well. um and like work that out on a soul level, on a karmic level, and like ideally eventually on a societal level. Like we all deserve to be here, and it's one planet, one people, one planet, one people. Why aren't we sharing everything? Why do we have to resort to violence, to land grab and colonize and do all these nasty things? And we're like, oh, it's just the way the world is, or like, oh, that's just, and I'm like, that is a base excuse at this point. We have the capacity to think critically, and the majority of us are living in wild privilege compared to generations past. Hi. I believe in us. I believe in us as a people, that we can actually sort things out diplomatically and not be raging wars just for profit and horrid kind of manipulative leadership tactics. It's just a bunch of, and what's the antidote? Your own personal peace and power. Your personal peace and power is the antidote to all corruption and all divisive construct, like pro peace, and pro love and pro diplomacy. The thing is like I'm still navigating that within my own reality. I'm still having to move with a sense of integrity and choose battles, as it were. There's a recognition, right? There are some energetics, like trolls on the internet, that are not worth the battle. I'm not even going to give it the time of day. It's like a little flea. You just flick it off. There are others, though, when it comes to my family, when it comes to my own personal reality, there are times where it's worth engaging in that discomfort. It's worth working out. It's like untying a knot. It's like working out those knots. Why? Because for some things it does matter. And as a community of people looking to harmonize and create. See, this is part of the ego that we're having to go over, is like, we're not creating individually anymore. We are creating as a collective consciousness, and we are awakening to this fact. So the way we let go and the way we harmonize with the broader collective field that like looks better and feels better and is better for more people, is it going to happen tomorrow? Fuck no. However, we can all stay the course of a greater living harmonic for the rest of our lives. And I'm curious. I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen? How's that going to unfold? How's that going to look? Let's trust it, because otherwise it's just too darn sad. The fact that these wars are still going on, the fact that we're, living through another danged Holocaust, and it's just been one after another of these wretched genocidal acts of warfare when our military industrial complex is out there raging it, and we're just blindly shopping, putting all that money into that complex where it's looping. It's like it's the snake is going to eat itself. The beast is going to eat itself. Let's just step off that train. I'm happy to, I kind of stepped on the train off the train a long time ago. I kind of renounced the world and stuff, and people don't get that. I don't think people don't fully get what that means as far as renouncing materiality, and in no way as an adult ever really pursuing materiality as like a goal, like look at my, although I know, having suffered a lot of collapse, I also understand at this point, like I need to sustain things so that I actually have a home and I have a safe space, because my physical body burnt out hardcore because I didn't have a home and people didn't want me anywhere. Or I didn't want to be, and I was vulnerable. And the I don't know about you guys, but the times in my life where I've been most vulnerable are often when I've attracted a lot of vulture energy, like, and it's some sort of martyrdom wounded complex, but like in my deepest vulnerability, there was almost a lot of shame. So I was like in service, like just trying to like serve these people who probably saw some sadistic joy in me being that vulnerable, and were he happy that they could like get whatever they wanted, until spirit would step in and be like, you're free, come away from here. And I'd be like, and they'd be like, and how dare you be free, or like, especially when you call stuff out, or when you like shine light on some of people's more like under like mean behavior, or like some of the shadowy unconscious shit they probably wouldn't want to have to face. And then your pure existence and like the way they treat you just like fucking lands all this shame on them. But like that's reality, that's karma. That's how energy works. We all get to learn at some point. I got a song pop in my mind. Um what is it that it's some salt and pepper goodness, like, what a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man, yes he is. People have attachments. Yeah, I mean, and I do too, defo. And there's some sort of, I'm still like working that out, that kind of fine line of like having stuff, not being afraid of having stuff. Because, yeah, for a long time, I just always rejected everything. It's like, I still get uncomfortable. Like, after being ill over the Christmas period, I kid you not, I've literally just gotten rid of like the majority of my clothes. I'm kind of at this weird point with fashion. I'm like, I just want to find the few bits and like non-giving of shits anymore. Like I'm so tired of the endless fashion conveyor belt. And eventually, I mean, my product that I sell at Ulta Love is all cotton and like sustainable. But eventually, like clearing out synthetics and like, yeah, just feeling solid, and like only needing, a few key pieces. Like people who devise wardrobes get this. It's like if you just have like some classic key things, you don't need a lot, and that's kind of where I'm at, because I can't deal with having too much, and I can't deal with too many clothes. I can't deal with like stuff, and like I'm aware, like a really good friend, and they're super materialistic. Like they're really into shopping. They want to buy like, and I and I think some of these things come to us at a time in our life where like you can hold space. Like the majority of people I know eat meat. I don't. Doesn't bother me. There was a time where I probably found it quite repulsive. I don't anymore. It's just the cycle of life. Life is death. People choose to eat the death. That is their choice. I don't have any issue with it. However, it's kind of it's also an honoring of the reciprocity of that, where like, don't you dare make me feel bad for my choices. Because people can often be like, it's such a hassle, it's such a big deal. And I'm like, it's the only thing that's a big deal is our mind. As far as I just even recently was like, wow, I'm still unpacking so much shadow, over this Christmas period. Yes, it's a Chris. So this is Christmas. Christmas is just trigger, 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 trigger. Ah, 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 ah. Oh my God! I just want to hide in a ball of shame because all of my childhood trauma is still coming to the surface. But thank God for you guys. Thank God for just the fact that I am unashamed enough to broadcast myself on the internet. What? Been doing it since 2012. Get used to it, you guys. Sorry. Not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm here and I'm here for it. It takes the time it takes, right? It would be, I mean, as in I resonate with that, Five Flames. It would be a crappy world if everyone was like me too. Could you imagine? Ah! What do you mean? Ah! I'd freak myself out and just want to like cocoon into a ball and be done with it all. So just claim the key to your own divine, masterful Holla Shazam. I probably ought to go because I can feel that there's coughs coming, but there's also like a buildup of schnoz. So this is Christmas. Dun, 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 dun. You guys, I've had such a joyful time. Maybe I should go live more often. Maybe I should go live with my patrons and then and then share it with you guys. Do you like the coughing? I can see my value, but I can certainly see my shortcomings. And I think Five Flames, like for a lot of us in this community, we got to focus on those values. We got to see those values. I think, I think a lot of us spend, gosh darn, too much time. Although, no, you're right. No, I think you're right. Like, as in, it's constant, isn't it? Like, I can see my value and I can also see all of my shortcomings and things I ought to keep working on and like stay grounded with. And, it's like all the many, many addictions that are just and just like, oh, please, God, I know. A Cuervo, what's that? I feel like there's like a song, kind of maybe a cool rappy song. Cuervo. Is that like a booze? I'm not sure. Anyway, Happy New Year. Yeah, I feel you on that. That's why I wake up and work, 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 work. Like, thank God for my clients. Thank God. Like, I say this to people all the many, many years that I've been teaching about yoga. One, yoga genuinely saved my life. Not, not to give it more power than it needs. But like yoga came into my life when I was on a certain trajectory and probably would have killed myself. And then yoga came in and I just practiced all day, every day. And then it became my career. And then still 20 years later, I can be fucking crying and bored or like, I don't want to do it. But I do because that's how I pay bills, right? And thanks God. And still to this day, and it's always how it's always been, guaranteed I will feel better after doing yoga. Every time. Every time. I not want to do it. My ow and I get tired. I don't want to have to always show up for people because I work most days. But but it's a good life. I'm not complaining. And like I said, I'll not want to do it, but I show up for people and I do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of stretch, breathe, move, namaste. And then people are like, thanks, MJ. And I'm like, no, thank you. And like, I genuinely feel better. So what's not great about that? So thank you for that. I mean, I chose that consciously, because I was working jobs many years ago and I was like, shit, I don't like it. So it was freelance. I started dancing, teaching dance and drama. And then the yoga vibratory come in. And I was like, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do, I think. And like the world and the universe and all of life, it just opened up. It's like people talk about that. It's like when something's in alignment and meant for you, effortless. It will be effortless. I mean, I put the effort in. But as I continued to put the effort in, things kept unfolding. Things. It's like, go this way, come over here. We need you for the yoga. And we're like, okay. I mean, now yoga is really, really popular. But 20 years ago up in Liverpool, people were like, are you doing a cult? And I was like, why don't you come give her a go? And that's where I met Mohan. And Mohan took me under his little yoga wing. He's still teaching up in Liverpool. He sent me to India. He started me teaching classes. Here we are. Namaste. Hala Shazam, my lovers. This is what the yogi, this is not any proof, but you know, this is the kind of thing that you do when you're a yogi. You just make out these shapes and you do all these things and you start to become more centered in yourself, but you also become more sensitized. So you can feel all the things and a little bit more harmonic. But the thing is, because you can feel everything, you can also look after yourself a little bit better. Maybe move with love, eat with love. You know, try not to be a dick. It's the way we like to roll here, my lovers. The void left behind from their presence. Ooh, people moving away, hey? Tequila! You guys bring me so much joy. I'm so grateful for you. But let's own it. Let's take the win. I also bring joy to myself. I do, but it's mainly because I'm so determined to entertain you and make you all feel good that I just end up making myself feel good because I'm trying to make you feel good because I do. Like, if we were all doing that, what kind of world would we be living in? Fuck, it'd be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? Like, everybody's just going around trying to make everybody feel better and like making each other feel better because everybody's trying to make each other feel better, and then everybody's ever gonna feel bad. It's just, I need to blow my nose, honestly. My nose is looking particularly huge right now as well. It's so full of snot. I need to go. I need to go. It's becoming pure delirium. I can't tell that emoji. The emoji between the faces almost looks like a little mushroom. I don't think it is, but then that makes me think about microdosing. Should I microdose? Probably not. I find myself not being able to handle a lot. Like things I used to be able to handle, I'm like, I can't handle. It's too potent. It's too strong. I can't drink as much coffee. I can't smoke as much weed. I can't do the things. And like even other things are like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, oh no, ow, no, I don't want to do any of that. Yeah. Anyway, I still like a salad. I still like a salad. Ooh, mushrooms, see? Cheers. Tequila. Beer. And all of the things. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Should I go live tomorrow? Let's feel it out. I'm dog sitting, so I'm going to be busy. And, by the way, new rule, if you're going to be trolling, you're done. I mean, blocked on the internet. I'm not going to, hurt you, okay? If anything, send you love and peace. But I'm not going to accept and or tolerate abuse anymore on the internet. I can't do it. It fucks me up. I'm working with strategic marketing, she's like, no, just, and you're like, okay. So you want to spew hatred on the internet? Go find a channel who cares, This channel is going to be about love and having a good time. It's like, I need it. It's too sensitive, I just want the world to be such a better place, and all that love and sensitivity has just broken my heart over and over and over again. And now I'm just at a point where I'm 42 years old. I'm not going to make the world a better place. The only thing I can do is control myself, bring joy to myself, bring joy to my world, and work on bringing that love to you guys. Okay. Thank you. Zero tolerance. Thank you. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy. You're like, oh God, is she singing? Oh, happy day. When Jesus washed, He washed your sins away. Bosh. Have a happy day, you guys. Peace out.